All right, here's page 10, a relatively short page because half of it's taken up by this problem. You don't even really need to know how to graph an inequality to answer this question, because if you notice, the lines graphed in all four of these graphs have the same intercept and the same slope, which means all four of these have the line y equals 2x minus 1 as the related line. So what we have to do is we have to determine whether our line should be solid or dotted, and whether our line should be shaded above or below. So real simply put, this should be a dotted line. The reason it should be a dotted line is because we have y is less than, not less than or equal to. So that tells us that this is a dotted graph, which means that our line should be dotted. It's not A and it's not C, because those both have solid lines. The other thing we know is that the symbol y is less than tells us to shade below the dotted line. So if we look at the two remaining options, that one's kind of shading above. So the answer should be D. D is the correct graph of that inequality. Number 50 says to graph 4x minus 3y is less than 12 on a coordinate plane. We're going to do this using the cover-up method. So what we're going to do is we are going to cover up 4x, which would leave negative 3y is less than 12. What we're doing there is we're letting x equal 0. This is called the intercept method as well. So then we would divide by negative 3. And we would get, and actually, I really shouldn't be using the inequality symbol here. I should be using just an equal sign, because what we're doing is we're graphing the related line. So it really ought to say equals, because we kind of ignore the inequality for this. And we would get y equals negative 4, which means the point 0, negative 4 is the y-intercept. So we'd start by graphing the point 0, 4. Then we let y equal 0 to find the x-intercept. That would give us 3x equals 12. We divide by 3, and we get x equals 4. Which means the point 4, 0 is my x-intercept. So I graph the point 4, 0. Something's wrong here. Oh, it should be 4x. Wow, let's go back and fix that, because that was a pretty dumb thing to do. When x equals 0, let's step back and fix that, because I screwed it up pretty royally. So reset your brain here, okay? We're trying to find the x-intercept, so we let y equal 0. When we put a y in for 0, we don't get 3x. We get 4x equals 12, and we should be dividing by 4. I screwed that up. My apologies. So divide by 4, and we get x equals 3, which means the point 3, 0 is my x-intercept. So I would graph the point 3, 0, which is here. My line passes through those 2 points, which is all the number of points that we need to graph a line. So the only other thing we need here is to know whether we are solid or dotted. So we look at the inequality symbol, which is less than, not less than or equal to. So this is a dotted line, because the line itself is not part of the solution set. So we should graph a dotted line with arrowheads on both ends that passes through those 2 points. Should look something like this. Then we need to shade. So then we go back here and we think to ourselves, okay, this is in standard form. So how do I check that? Well, the easiest way to know where to shade is to plug in 0, 0. So to figure out where to shade, we test the point 0, 0 in the equation. That would be 4 times 0 minus 3 times 0, and we're checking to see, excuse me, is that less than 12? So that would be 0 is less than 12. Is that true or false? That's true, which means 0, 0 is shaded. Now why do we care? Because if 0, 0 is shaded, then that means that we're shading below our dotted line. So we would shade in everything below the dotted line, and that would finish up our graph. Number 51 is asking us to write and solve an inequality. It says Isabella works part-time to earn money. She wants to earn at least $275 to buy a new computer. She earns $11 per hour. How many hours must she work to reach her target? So she earns $11 per hour, so that'd be 11 times x, if x is the number of hours. That is the rate at which she's earning money. She needs to make at least, which would be greater than or equal to, $275. There's the inequality written. Now we need to solve it. That's a pretty easy equation to solve. We divide by 11. Now that's not going to be an even number. So we do 275 divided by 11. Oh, it is an even number. Well, that's lovely. So x is at least 25. So we would say she needs to work at least 25 hours. Finally, number 52. This is cleverly trying to disguise a compound inequality. It says Nicole makes $9.50 per hour working at an electronics company. She plans to buy a handheld computer, the least expensive of which costs $245.60, and the most expensive of which is $368.40. Write and solve an inequality describing how long Nicole will have to work to be able to buy a handheld computer. Now, I would argue that we don't even need the most expensive number, but we will go ahead and use it here. The amount of money that she makes per hour is $9.50. So just like the problem above, we would write 9.50x to represent her earnings. Well, she will be able to buy one of these computers when that number is between the price of the cheapest one and the price of the most expensive one. So the inequality we're solving should be $245.60 is less than or equal to $9.50 times x is less than or equal to $368.40, because when her earnings are between these two numbers, she can afford to buy a handheld computer. That is a compound inequality, so whatever we do to the middle, which to solve we need to divide by 9.5, we have to do to both the right and left sides as well. So we're not dividing by a negative number, so we're going to end up with x between two other numbers, same symbols. We're going to divide 245.6 by 9.5 and round it off to dollars and cents. Well, let's round it off to the nearest hundredth, but it's not in dollar. I shouldn't say dollars and cents because that is not correct. So that's approximately 25.85. And then 368.4 divided by 9.5 is 38.78 approximately. So it says, write and solve an inequality describing how long Nicole will have to work to be able to buy a handheld computer. We would say Nicole would need to work between, and remember that most jobs don't pay partial hours, 26 hours, because I would round that 25.85 up, and 39 hours, because I would round the 38.78 up to afford the computer. Now again, I think you could get away with just answering the 26 hours, because once she breaks that bottom threshold, she can buy a handheld computer. Maybe not the best one, but she can buy one. That, I believe, finishes page 10.